Hey, I'm Steve with Prima Coffee, and today we're going to take a look at Mahlkönig's new E80 Supreme espresso grinder. So the E80 Supreme is the fastest espresso grinder currently on the market. You can grind about 6 to 7 grams per second, and so that works out to just about 3 seconds per espresso dose. It's important to say that this is not just an update to the peak espresso grinder, this is an entirely new grinder. You're still going to have those 80 millimeter burrs, and you're still going to have that same burr geometry as the peak because it worked really well, but everything else on here is going to be different. So the E80 is also a very accurate grinder. Once you've dialed in the shot time, so it is a grind by time, and once you've found whatever time that is to dose out what you need for your espresso, we found that the variation is not more than about 5/10 of a gram. There was the errant shot that was about 8/10 of a gram off, but it was happening so infrequently that it really doesn't seem like an issue here. We'll start with 2 seconds. 12.1 on that one. 11.9. 12.1. 12.1. So that was super accurate. The good thing about this is it has 2 cooling fans to maintain kind of a desirable temperature in the grind chamber, and you will be able to see the temperature in there right here on the home screen. The hopper here can fit about 1,800 grams. And you can, of course, open and close it. So if you're going to put in new beans or clean or do something like that, you can close it up. It has a grind adjustment system right here on the collar, similar to those other ones, except for the internals are very different. It uses cogs here instead of rotating that burr on threads. And once you've dialed it in, you can lock that grind here on the back by turning a dial all the way clockwise until it clicks. However, you don't really need to do that because of the way that this new grind setting system is set up is once you've actually found the spots, it shouldn't move. So to record your grind settings, on the collar here, there's numbers 0 through 10 and all these little lines in between each individual number. However, on the E80 Supreme, they're also using this disk distance detection technology. So right here on the top left on that home screen, it's going to show you the distance between those burrs in micron. What that's going to allow you to do is instead of just using this kind of generic and maybe not very accurate number here on the collar, what you can do is you can dial it in by micron, and then you can, if you own several cafes, for instance, as long as you calibrate them all the same, you can send that number around and say that, this particular coffee, we want it to be at 0.033 micron distance. Instead of just saying number 5 or number 5.1 or something like that. So it gives you that a little bit more accurate reference point. Like the previous Mahlkönig grinders, you can set here the portafilter fork to fit whatever portafilter that you are using. So we have it set here for this one. But on the side here, you have a screw, and on the side over here, you have a screw. And of course, you can loosen those, move it up and down, and then get your portafilter in there to fit that. The chute here for easy cleaning, you can just take that out. And you can clean this up in here. This chute should actually be dosing the coffee directly into the center of your portafilter, like we have it doing right there. But if that is not happening, if you take out the chute, right behind it is this plastic piece that can be moved up or down, and that'll help you to adjust the angle that this chute sits so that it actually does dose directly into the center of your portafilter. Also up here on the hopper, you have a bag clip. So if you wanted to show the customers or your baristas what coffee was currently in the hopper, you can just go ahead and put in either the bag or a card or a sticker or whatever it is that does identify what you are currently brewing. You also have the disk distance detection technology. The one right here in gray shows you the true distance between those burrs. And the number right there in orange is going to show you the distance that you've actually set that recipe for. You can go ahead and manual dose by hitting the top left button there, or you can adjust any of your recipes by scrolling to that recipe that you want. Go here, and right here it shows you the edit time button. So now I can make it a little bit longer, click OK. Now it's set. So you have up to 6 recipes that you can program right there on that home screen. However, the really advanced features are behind that home screen. So to get into the menu behind the home screen, you will double click on this dial and we are in. First one you see here is the edit recipes. If you click that, it'll show you all 6 options for recipes. It doesn't mean that these are shown on your home screen. If there's a little green light, it means it's on the home screen, but you can go into the recipe and go down to where it says active and click the button. It says now it's inactive. So when you go back out to the home screen, that recipe will not be showing there. So for each individual recipe here, the options you have are to set it to a time-based dose or a manual dose. Time means that you can set it to grind by time, and then manual just means that it actually counts up instead of counting down. The second one here is the time itself. Third one is an icon that you want associated with that recipe. The fourth one is your disk distance detection technology. And this allows you to say, for this particular coffee in this recipe, the burrs need to be this far apart. So 0.050 is where that is right now. But of course you can click on that and you can change the distance that you want there. So also in that menu, under edit recipes, you have your settings. And this allows you to get a little deeper into the grinder. In the general settings, this is of course your language, your date, your time, the name of the grinder, things like that. But grinder settings are going to be your more advanced settings here for your grinder. If we go into that, we have the break function, which allows us to stop if we're dosing 3 seconds, for instance, to stop it in the middle of that at 2 seconds, and then it'll wait for you to come back and dose the rest of it. Under that, you have the dose timeout. So it says how long do you want the grinder to wait for that break before it just goes back to the recipe and forgets where you were in that grinding session. So I can go ahead and show you what that break function looks like. Here's one of our recipes that has 3 seconds. You can start it, and you stop, it holds your place, and you can go back in and you can get the rest. However, if you start the recipe and then you wait 4 seconds, right there, it just goes back to the recipe. It doesn't hold your place. Other things you have the fan currently running temperatures. You have the temperature here. Do you want the temperature on the grind chamber to be shown on that main menu? You can turn that off if you don't want it. The third one here is your internal presets. And this is going to allow you to say how you want the disk distance detection technology to read on that home screen. Do you want it in, tenths of a millimeter? Do you want it in hundredths of a millimeter? You can set that all right there. So that is the E80 Supreme from Mahlkönig. It is the fastest grinder on the market for espresso. It is made for your high volume cafes. This is a workhorse grinder. You can find it online at primacoffee.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks again for watching. If you liked that video, you'll be pleased to know there is so much more on our website, including comparisons, product reviews, brew guides, events coverage, and so much more. And help support our channel by subscribing, liking this video, sharing, commenting, and clicking that bell button. Happy brewing!